Hello, my friends. Good evening. It's Wednesday, 4th of February 2026. And today we are live. Yeah. Last week we had technical problems and we had to put a recorded program. But today we're here, brave. So, and today to redeem ourselves, we brought a guest, our friend Roberto Watanabe from FESP. He is the former president of FESP. And and we will get his insights regarding the topic. Today's topic is the role of forgiveness in personal and social healing. So let's everybody say hi. So Roberto, welcome, my friend. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Stevan. Hello, Elsa, Charles. Happy to be
I
here
think my
with you.
internet is terrible today.
Now I'm listening to you.
Now we're okay now. We are listening you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So good evening, Elsa. How are you, my dear?
Now see, she's not listening.
Yeah. Bonsoir, Charles.
So, Steven, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Indeed, forgiveness is a very important topic and the key to solve a lot of very big and dramatic problems we are facing nowadays. So let's
Stevan,
try to clarify it a
I
little
think
bit.
the internet here is very terrible because it's cutting your voice totally.
Yeah.
We hear you very well.
You may be reducing the definition of the video, of the image, put it in low definition. It helps.
She's on the phone, Charles. Not she's on her mobile. She's not on the computer. Yeah. Okay, so let me go to my quick introduction here, and we will jump to our questions today. Forgiveness. When we talk about forgiveness, this is one of the most demanding, and I would say most
I will change
liberating,
everything here, okay?
most liberating moral teachings brought to humanity. In Spiritism, we can say that forgiveness is not a weakness or forgetfulness. It's a conscious of act of spiritual maturity. It's completely opposite from what we know. No, must see forgiveness as a weakness, but spiritists don't see it as weakness. Um, According to the gospel to spiritism, resentment and hatred imprison the soul, while forgiveness restore inner harmony and opens the path to healing, both individual and collectively. In today's world, which is marked by conflicts, injustice, emotional wounds, a lot emotional ones, Spiritism invites us to understand forgiveness as a law of spiritual health, essential not only for peace with others, but peace for ourselves. And tonight we're going to explore how forgiveness heals the soul, transforms relationships, and contributes to social regeneration. So, in order to kick off here, allow me to start with you, Roberto, since you are our special guest. And the question for you it is why is forgiveness considered essential for spiritual progress in Spiritism?
Well, thank you for the question, Stevan. We could say that according to Spiritism, we we are still imperfect spirits on this earth, right? And then that's why we need to ask forgiveness to God. That's what we say in the Lord's Prayer. And well, if we ask God for forgive us, how can we do that if we don't forgive those who may have offended us? So that is the logic here, right? So that let's say to have the forgiveness from God, we should forgive those who have offended us. So that was the situation. And also, forgiveness is essential for spiritual progress because if we don't forgive the offenses we received, then we will be involved in resentment in a situation where we cannot see things clearly, we cannot think correctly. We will be always in anger. So looking for an opportunity to revenge what he received from the offender, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of lock us in a trap, right? Kind of a trap in our life. So forgiveness liberate us, free us from such situation. So that's why it's considered essential for spiritual progress. The ideal situation would be the one where we even didn't feel offended by any person. That was the situation. For example, it's rare. I agree, but that was the situation of Chico Xavier, for example. He lived in a time where Spiritism was under attack here in Brazil, right? Like Kardec was in the same situation in France. But he rarely, or I should say never, felt offended by anyone. So if you don't feel offended, then you don't need to forgive. So that is the ideal situation. So that's why Spiritism talk about all these issues, right? And based on what Jesus said, right? And that's why Jesus also said that entering to Peter, that we should not forgive 7 times, but 70 times 7. So that's all the logic, let's say, why Spiritism considered the forgiveness as essential for our spiritual progress.
Okay, good. Good. Charles, do you have any compliments? Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think Roberto really made a very good summary of most of the arguments concerning why it is in our interest to forgive. We know that we are not perfect, otherwise we would not be here. So due to this human imperfection, willingly or not willingly, we will harm someone, we will make mistakes and so on. So, okay, if we harm someone without forgiveness, it will be, how to say, a constant hatred during, as long as we do not forgive. So we see immediately that the only way out of violence, of hatred, and all these sentiments who basically are also harmful for us, mostly harmful for us, not only mentally, but also physically, because it's demonstrated now that this type of sentiments, if you get angry or whatsoever, you will harm your physical body, your heart, with adrenaline and whatsoever, and it's harmful also for you. So the only way is exactly to see we are all on the same boat. We are all imperfect. We do mistakes. The others do mistakes towards us. So this way indicated, not only by Jesus, but by in most the religion you have the same, is really the only way out is forgiving. Let's look into actuality what's happening. You see there in Gaza, you have Israeli against Palestinians. How long? It's now something like not a century yet, but several decades. When will that stop? Now imagine the people reasoning, saying, okay, it's enough. Let's forgive. Let's change. Let's stop with this eye for eye, tooth for tooth, revenge, vicious cycle. And all of a sudden, you can have these people living peacefully together. Let's go a little bit more back. It was the same between France and Germany, for instance. In 1870s, then in 1914, then in WW2, 1939. And after the WW2, the people came together and said, oh, look, stop, let's stop with all this thing. And what is the result today? It worked. This true forgiveness was happening. And today you have French and German people working hand in hand, even with different language, different cultures, different way to think and to understand the things. Okay, we see it as something which is positive for everyone, complementary. And we now during these 80 years after WW2, we see that it was really highly positive, both for Germany and for France. So, okay, here is an example. So let's try to follow it. And we can also extend to a lot of other problems like China in Taiwan, or like Ukraine and Russia. The only way out is to have this forgiveness, and then we will come back to living together peacefully, joining our efforts in the benefit of everyone. And this is, I would even say, the only sustainable future for the humanity on Earth.
Yeah, and good 2 points. And also, I want to say good evening to our friend Hipólito Rebolo and Riala Rom. So good to have you all. You're both here. So Elsa, I think she made it.
No, cannot
We
listen.
cannot hear. I cannot hear you. No. No. Okay. 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 Yeah. And it's important as well to emphasize that what I said in my introduction, like in the past, now we are seeing forgiveness as a kind of weaknesses. You are too kind. You are a very good person, and you let your heart decide instead of your mind. No more. So this cause questions, and with the learnings we had about spiritism, we are seeing that when you forgive, it is causing more benefit to those who are forgiven instead of those who are forgave. Because when you forgive someone, you kind of free yourself from a burn. You free yourself from a very heavy memory. Again, we are not saying forgiveness equals forget. No, you will still remember, you will still see, you will still be there, but when you remember that, you don't have that hatred anymore.
Can you hear me
So,
now?
yes,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I didn't participate in the introduction, but at least this is a very specific and productive meeting talking about forgiveness. That's so important for us, so important for everyone, because without forgiveness, we cannot live in a better way, because we hold in our shoulders some clusters, heavy things that make us ill. Forgiveness is a liberation. I, I'm pretty sure that, because in Spiritism, says here, we understand that holding on to resentment harms not only our relationships, but also our own spiritual growth. Clinging to grudges can create emotional imbalance, disturb our inner peace, and even open the door to spiritual obsessions. It also slows our moral development, because forgiving and letting go of resentment is an act of love and self transformation. Every act of forgiveness brings us closer to serenity and strengthen our spirit to face life's challenges with balance and compassion. We need to follow the psychology of Jesus. Let it go. Don't hold the resentment, vengeance, things that really make us ill, make us be older than we need, change our color of our skin, because hate, jealousy, pride, all these vicissitudes is really not good for our spiritual health, but also for our physical health. We really only do small things in order to be happy. Happy the way that we are living a better day, a better life between our families, understanding our neighborhood, and be compassionate towards some people in the streets. Like that sometimes we avoid these people or hate these people. Why these people are doing this and that? But that's really no good for us. The thing is, understand, if you want to live a better life, start in me, in myself. My inner Elsa should change things, should see differently as usual. If I, until now I was unhappy doing things and nothing is good, everything is a problem. Why? Try to see and rebobine, redo our mind, and we will find the weak point, that we can strengthen this weak point with the teachings of Spiritism, is that they are Jesus' teachings clarified nowadays, and we will be a better person. without this, not always forgive, but not in be better person. We have to learn with our lessons. Forgive is one big lesson, big step, but it's really good when we achieve it, isn't it? I missed it before. Maybe I saying the same thing, but I
Yes.
missed what you said before. Okay, it's very nice that Watanabe is here with us today, and Charles, of course, in Steven, all the audience that I cannot see in this mobile. Thank you.
Great, my dear. Thank you. Thank you. Such valuable contribution. And we can say, for example, let me get here another question. We can say, I said here, Charles, that forgiveness, it is kind of freedom for those who give the forgiveness. And we can say to everyone, "Oh, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, forgive, I forgive." But inside, we don't know. We are the only one who knows if we are really forgive or not. And I let's put it in a situation. I really want to forgive, but I can't. I'm a spiritist. I'm reading the gospel according to Spiritism. I go to the meetings. I really try to do it, but I still cannot do it. And my question to you is, how does Spiritism distinguish forgiveness from a kind of tolerant behavior?
This is for Charles or for me?
For Charles.
For Charles.
Okay, but if you want to answer, Roberto, please go. No problem.
Oh no, Charles.
Okay. So let's it's a good question, quite difficult question. I think you told Stevan that forgiving is not forgetting. Between forgetting and forgiving, it's a nuance. It's not the same. You cannot wipe something from your memory unless if you are ill, like Alzheimer or whatsoever. But forgiveness is really even keeping the memory, not being touched anymore by this forgiveness. So having the memory, say, "Oh no, I forgave him. I know it was a mistake, and we talked together, and it's forgiven, and I don't have any hatred, anything anymore against that person." Nevertheless, the memory is used to. How do you get experience? Experience comes from learning. We did good things, we did bad things, but if we forget the bad things we did, we may do the bad things again. So we have to take the lessons from the experience, and this comes exactly through this memory. But what we should wipe is really the hatred we had from the causes or the person who caused these problems, and knowing perfectly that we also are doing wrong things. And the question you made is quite forgiveness is also not connivance with the mistakes, with bad things. You see someone doing very bad things, harming a lot of people. I forgive him and forget it, and I don't do anything. No, this is omission. This is not forgiveness. You should do something if you can to protect the people who are suffering, and also to try to explain to the person who is doing bad things. It's not always easy. It's even sometimes impossible from stopping doing that. So otherwise, I mean, if you do not, how to say, correct or help to correct the bad things, if you do not have the capacity to make without judging, judging is also another story, but you should be capable of making the difference with what is good and what is evil. And the referential from the Spiritist body of knowledge of this is very clear and very simple. Good is all what is in harmony with the natural law, and evil is all what is not in harmony with the natural law. So the referential are natural's law or God's law, if we prefer. And this, because the objective of our objective and of all our fellows in humanity is to progress, to stop doing bad things and to do more and more good things. That is the definition of the progress. So if we don't make this difference and if we don't react when something bad is happening, it will make the progress much slower. So we should forgive, yes, but this is not, how to say, an excuse for not doing anything to help our fellows and the world to progress. And this we have to do being absolutely conscient that we cannot change somebody else. We can only change ourselves, okay? So you can give an advice, you can help, you can show example. There are several ways, but only the person itself can change himself. Nobody can change, nobody can forgive on behalf of someone else. So it's really something absolutely personal. And that's what comes out from the Spiritist body of knowledge. And also the fact that forgiveness, sometimes you forgive, but you are not forgiven, but you should continue forgiving even if you are not forgiven. Why? Because forgiveness is also encompassing some disinterestedness. If you forgive waiting to get something back for your forgiveness, it's not a real, true, sincere, deep forgiveness. So all this we have to consider, and Spiritist body of knowledge is very clear about this. And we have also spirits which are coming. So Kardec compiled several tens of communications from spirits explaining what happened with them after dying, depending on what they did being alive, including spirits who did forgive and who were immensely helped for having this forgiveness even at the last moment, and some people who even in the spiritual world do not forgive and which are in a much, much more difficult situation. So it's up to us showing these examples to think about and what do we want for ourselves. So let's go and stay with this aim to forgive whenever and as quick and as many times as we can.
I would like to compliment. May I?
Be my guest.
Yeah. Well, Charles is talking about how we should forgive, right? What we see in the gospel according to Spiritism is that there are many ways of forgiving, the correct ones and the not correct ones. And the not correct ones was something like it Charles just said, where you has expectation to receive something in return, or the situation that we see there on the gospel according to Spiritism, where I forgive the offender, but then I in a way that I humiliate him. So that's not a true forgiveness, right? The other situation is where I say that I forgive the person, but I say I don't want to see him or her anymore, right? So that's not true forgiveness. The true forgiveness involves forgetfulness, like you mentioned, Stevan. we must forget the offense, right? So that's the first step to true forgiveness. But maybe like Elsa said, that's not enough. It's still not enough, because what we also learn from Spiritism is that we should not also forget the offense, but also do the best we can do for our offense, right? Doing good for him or her. So that's what would result in the evolution that Elsa mentioned. I think we could see true forgiveness that way. Now, regarding the tolerating bad actions that you asked, Stevan, what I think that to tolerate bad actions is not the correct behavior, because we could even be accused of conniving with such a bad action, right? And then what we see there in the I mentioned the Gospel according to Spiritism, the chapter 10, right? Blessed mercy, and we see there that if a person is committing some bad action, but that harm only himself or herself, well, that's his or her problem. We should not interfere, right? But if such bad actions harm other people, then we should intervene. And so toleration is up to the point where what the person is doing will harm only himself or herself. But beyond that point, we should intervene. But then what we also see there is that in order to intervene, we must have a moral authority. And so that's another important point. If we don't have moral authority, we don't have the right, let's say, to call the attention, right? The person's attention. So that's what I would like to say regarding such an issue of tolerating or no, right? And not a bad action, let's say, of someone else.
Okay.
Can I contribute a little bit?
Good. Yeah, sure.
Okay. But when I was writing about the theme for tonight, in a psychological perspective, social perspective, and spiritual perspective, I felt that is an article, and I just wrote an article for our newsletter here in Bass, and using to talk tonight. Says here, forgiveness is a conscious, ethical, and emotional process through which an individual chooses to release resentment, anger, and the desire for retaliation toward those who cause harm. From a psychological perspective, research shows that forgiveness is associated with a lower level of stress, anxiety, depression, and psychosomatic illnesses, while promoting emotional regulation, resilience, and overall well-being. Forgiving does not mean forgetting, as Watanabe mentioned now, or justifying injustice. Rather, it allows the individual to disengage from the emotional captivity of pain and reclaim inner peace. On a social level, forgiveness plays a fundamental role in healing collective wounds. It interrupts cycles of violence, revenge, said before, and exclusion, fostering reconciliation, empathy, and restorative dialogue. Societies and communities that embrace forgiveness alongside responsibility and justice create conditions for social cohesion, trust, and lasting peace. In this sense, forgiveness becomes not only a personal virtue, but a social practice essential for sustainable coexistence. From a spiritual perspective, particularly in the teachings of Jesus, Forgiveness is presented as a path of liberation, that's said before, and love. Forgive 70 times 7. Forgiveness is an act of moral elevation, inviting individuals to transcend ego, pride, and hatred, said before. In Spiritism, as organized by Allan Kardec, forgiveness is deeply connected to the laws of moral progress, reincarnation, and so many good things. That is my report. Is a long because it's an article now, but is really good when you deep immerse in learn a little bit more about something like that. Okay, there's more academically, etc. But I stop here.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so we can say we already said that forgive, not forget. We already said this is healing for ourselves. But we said it's good to emphasize that forgetting is not like I will wake up tomorrow and I will be totally peaceful. Oh my God. We are saying forgiving, it is a process. It is a process in which every single day, and I would say every incarnation, you will give a step forward. Sometimes the forgiveness is not in this life. You need 2, 3 incarnations to forgive that person. So it's a process. If you are in that phase, okay, I really want to forgive, but I can't. Don't worry. Just the will in in try to forgive, it is something. We need to do, like Charlie said, if you forgive because, oh, I will forgive because I want to go to heaven, I don't go to the lower zones. Don't go. Sorry, it doesn't gonna work at all. So we need to start this process and be honest with ourselves. What do you think, my dear Elsa?
I'm very careful here not to start coughing again because you speak too much. I think we have everything in our hands. We are responsible for our actions, our thoughts, everything. If you want to have a better life, as I said before, we have really have eyes to see properly things and understand. But what we do most of the time, we terrorize everything. No, I'm doing this because the other one did this. No, that should be different. The other one did this. Now I have to think how to act in order not to increase his hatred or his problems that make me ill. Because I am the one that want freedom. If everyone in the world was listening, 1% really put in practice what Jesus is still teaching us, this philosopher, this doctor, this psychologist, the most important in the world, of course, that everyone diminishes hatred, it diminishes vengeance, diminishes these things that go straight to our liver. It damages our liver, our kidney, our heart, our mind, everything. Is that forgive and forget, they come together, as Watanabe pointed. I forgive you, but I'll never forget what you did against me or whatever. We have, of course, we don't forget because we have a brain to work. But when we remember this terrible feeling that we had before, doesn't come again because it was in the past. So I forgave. I did my best, and I cannot forget because I am active brain. But that doesn't damage me anymore. That is a step towards Jesus' teachings, or the philosophy or body of knowledge, as Charlie talk about Spiritism. That is the way that we act. And when I said the other part that I was about to tell you, that academically, see the importance of the research. Academically, forgiveness is understood as a multidimensional construct involving cognitive reframing, emotional transformation, ethical maturity, and relational repair. It is increasingly recognized in psychology, philosophy, theology, and peace studies are a key mechanism for healing trauma, rebuilding relationships, or fostering moral development. Thus, forgiveness it stands at the intersection of science, ethics, and spirituality as a transformative force capable of healing individuals, restoring societies, and elevating human consciousness. If you forgive, you never have wars because everything was treated differently, isn't it? Return
Yeah.
to you. Watanabe, Charles, and
Yeah.
Stevan.
Charles wanna say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see, even in science, in psychology, the effects of the forgiveness is very clear. It's something which gets us free, and this is only even seeing in the reduced materialist paradigm. Okay, when we look into the spiritualist paradigm, which is followed by the spiritist body of knowledge, it's even stronger. Why? Because we know that when we die, it's not the end of everything. That our soul will survive, which is in its individuality, and also with all what has been forgiven and all what has not been forgiven. So even dying, we do not escape from having to forgive and from having to solve the problems we have one with the others. So knowing this, okay, why do tomorrow what we can do today? We know that there is no way out to escape. The voice of our conscience will always be here and call our attention. Hey, this is something that you did not fix it, and you have to fix it. And sometimes it's even creating huge problems. We can see sometimes some spirits, people who died, and staying with hatred, continuing after dying, persecuting and harming the counterpart, even if it is still incarnated, you know. So there is absolutely no way out. So knowing this, say, okay, procrastinating is not the solution. So let's fix it.
There's a question.
Say it again. Sorry.
There's a question. Can you forgive and trust the other person who hurt us, who hurt you?
I would say, allow me to start because this answer was given by Divaldo Franco to me. And he said, if you forgive, truly forgive someone, and you ask for pardon, forgiveness, and the other person fake a yes or say no, at that moment, it is problem of the other person, not your problem anymore. because you did. You had the compassion, you have the courage to reach that person, ask for forgiveness, ask him for let it go. If that person don't give you the forgiveness, it's that person problem, not your problem. So just trust. Why you need to trust? Of course, if someone harm you and you forgive, it doesn't say you're gonna give you're gonna trust in that person 100%. Just let it go. Give time to time. What do you think, Watanabe?
Yeah, I agree with you, Stevan. And I agree also what you said before, that forgive is not easy, and it's not very easy. It's difficult, and you cannot achieve such condition from one day to the other. And what Kardec comments is that hatred and rancor denote a soul that is neither advanced nor great, which is, I would say, is the case of most of us. And forgetting offenses, he says, is proper to the advanced soul. So I think we are still not advanced soul. And to be advanced soul is not something that we do from day to night. So you're right, it's not easy then to forget. But then we have the help of Spiritism, right? That explain us lots of things. The first one is that everything that happened to us has a cause. So then this is the first understanding. And most of what happened to us have a present cause of a past cause, right? We see that on the Gospel according to Spiritism. So that is, everything has a cause. Second, maybe this situation of being offended by someone else, we may be the one who began the cycle of a hatred. So that's the second explanation, not from Spiritism. And third, we also we have a prayer, right? So we can ask it through prayer to have such strength to forgive and to go forward, right? Forgetting what happened and just go forward. So I think Spiritism can help us a lot in this issue of forgiveness.
Good.
Yes, if I may also complement a little bit, Stevan. Indeed, this question of forgiving and trusting is different. Let's take an example. Someone hurts you. Okay. It's painful when you are hurted. Okay, but you understand. You forgive the person. Even in the Spiritist body of knowledge, you may assume that maybe you hurted that person in a past life or something like that. So you just get the reaction in this life, or you hurted another person or whatsoever. So all this helps saying, okay, I forgive. Now, if the person you have forgiven is continuing hurting, does it, for instance, and saying that you have to forgive 70 times 7 times, does it mean that you have to stay with this person which is hurting to hurt you 70 times 7 times and to forgive 70 times 7 times? That's also not the case. I mean, trusting is something very different. You see a person which is hurting other persons. Nobody is obliged to stay with such a person continuing being hurted. You can say I forgive, but how to say I go now in a kind of a save mode, safeguard mode, in order not continuing to be hurted, even something much worse can happen. You can even be killed or whatsoever, you know. So forgiving is also not that, but by living and putting you in a kind of a protection mode, you still forgive, having been hurt one or several times by that person, and not seeking revenge, not wishing bad thing for that person. At the opposite, having good thoughts for that person, so that these good thoughts with the time can help this person also becoming better and stop hurting the others, you know. So that is really the proactive forgiveness. It's also not a kind of a masochism or whatsoever of willing to stay and being hit all the time. It's also not to be seen in this way. And the trust is, of course, something else. Jesus was quite strong when he was saying you have to love your enemies. And Kardec was interpreting this by saying, hey, okay, to love your enemies does not mean to have the same affection towards an enemy as you have for beloved ones. You know, it's also not this. So it's always a kind of midterm. It's wishing the best for that person, even which still doing wrong things, but also not staying to put you in a dangerous and to stay in a dangerous situation. That's clear. And it also does not mean you have to trust this person, because if you trust too quickly, of course, I mean, trust is something which is also built with time through examples and not only words, but also behaviors. So you can forgive, but trusting is, I would say, one of the next steps. And it involves also how is the other person reacting to you? If the other person is continuing behaving in a violent way, for instance, you can forgive, but then you cannot trust.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay, to
Stevan,
wrap up, yeah, Roberto, do you want to say something to finish our?
yeah, just to complement all that you said, I will remember that is what Jesus said. I don't remember very well, but he said we should be simple as the pigeons, but prudent as the serpent, right? So truth relatively. So if I forgive, I'm being simple as a pigeon, but doesn't mean that now I will trust entirely in the to the person that offended me. So I should be prudent like the serpent.
Yeah. Charles, Elsa, do you want to wrap up?
I would like to say a few words only. It's so easy to have a beautiful day in our life. It's up to us. Let things, small things, don't crust in your shoulder. Walk with happiness and see good things with good vision, with good eyes everywhere. Don't put too much strength in minor things that destroy our happiness. We should hold a little bit our horses before jumping in conclusion and forgive more. If you want to be happy, listen Jesus. Study Spiritism. Be a good person in your church, in your synagogue, in your mesquita, or whatever. And be a good person, because all the religions, all philosophies bring something good for us to forgive and be a better person every day. Okay? Only that. Not much more. And next week, we have so many good things for next week as well.
Yeah. Okay, my friends, thank you so much. It's time. I still have problems with my Power BI, my PowerPoint, so I cannot show the announcements today.
But we can say what the theme for
That,
next
that, that,
week.
that I say yes. So
Okay.
go ahead. You know more. You know
Okay.
better than me.
So our guest speaker next week will be Rubens Casotto Promegaard from Denmark. And he will be with us talking about love as a way of life beyond Valentine's Day. It's interesting, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Valentine's Day is approaching. So I know, Robert, for in Brazil, Valentine's Day is just in June,
June, yeah.
but for us here is on the 14th of February.
Uh,
Yeah,
12th of June here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much, my friends. Have a beautiful week. Charles, merci. Roberto,
Thank you,
obrigado.
Roberto.
Elsa, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.